Welcome to the Nerd Party.
I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Phillip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
And this is City Alpha 3.
Welcome, everyone, to City Alpha 3, the Star Trek podcast here on the Nerd Party. I'm Phillip Gilfus, your host do week. I'm joined, as always, by our co-hosts, Darren Moser and Daniel Prue. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
I'm ready to not talk about Thomas this week.
I had so much more to say.
Did we really, though?
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're all Thomased out for another year.
In the extended universe.
You know, I've been thinking about future topics to talk about. And
wait, isn't Mirror Thomas just regular Will? Like that?
We could do a whole series, like a spin-off Discovery, like Picard, more recent Star Trek series on Thomas Riker and see where he's at. We could just do a whole thing, or he could be short treks. Listen, guys, I've got ideas. We'll talk more about Thomas Riker. He's not gone forever. So.
See Discovery Season 5. All right. Well, we actually have to be on our really good behavior because we got the boss here today. We're joined by the person who runs the Nerd Party Network, Tristan Riddell, as well as another illustrious co-host, Mike Schindler. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having us on this week for this very special SETI Alpha 3.
Oh, we're going to learn a lesson?
Every time somebody comes to visit us in SETI Alpha, they only bring a shuttle that can fit just them. They can never rescue us from our stranded situation. Funny how that works.
Well, you know, I mean, hopefully we could squeeze you in and then take you to Chicago. Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh.
No?
How cold is it in Chicago? Because my California sensibilities won't allow me to go below a certain temperature.
What's hilarious is that, like, you're wearing a coat right now.
Yeah, that's because it's 68 degrees in there. So
it is 68 degrees in here. That's exactly what it is, and that's why I'm wearing a coat.
Oh boy!
There's a cloud warning in California, so there's one cloud that might pass over by his house.
Things don't belong in the sky except blue. I'm sorry, that's just the way God intended it.
Yeah, it's either blue skies or fireballs. But what we have Tristan and Mike on for is Star Trek Mission Chicago. I mean, the colon is silent, but I'm sure you can hear it as I speak. Is going to be coming up in April. And these are our Chicago experts, as well as being Star Trek experts, of course. And they're going to tell us, I guess, all you need to know for anyone who's prepping to go to Star Trek Mission Chicago. What's the quick way to say it? Is it Mission Chicago? Star Trek Chai? What's the quickest way to say it?
I would just say Star Trek Chicago, honestly.
Okay. Okay. Wait, that's
Schindler,
not
what would you say? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense, right? I mean, what do they say for celebration?
We just say Celebration Anaheim.
Yeah, so same deal, right?
I thought you said like beep boop or something. I'm not a
It
Star
is
Wars
weird when you start a conversation just about going to Celebration and nobody knows what that is. Like they're not in the Star Wars bubble. And you're like, yeah, I do kind of sound like a crazy person just saying, yeah, I just can't wait till Celebration. Like insert random event here is what it sounds
It's kind of like when people say like, oh yeah, I went to university. Do you mean a university or you went to college?
I went to this concept called university, and it was with knowledge.
See, here they say uni. So, all right. So, gentlemen, so this is coming up April 8th. So, lots of time to prepare. But you know, either one, Mike or Tristan, who else? What's so? I mean, I'm sounding accusatory here. What's so big about Star Trek Chicago? But anyway, what's so big about Star Trek Chicago?
I think the interesting thing is that, you know, I mean, we've all been to Vegas. We were all in Vegas together, right? Mm-hmm. I remember playing the
first time, last time,
the
every 50th
Star Trek Next Generation video board game thing. You know,
interactive.
Yeah, it was great. But you know, everybody's used to Vegas because they've been doing it for how many billions of years now? You know. And as I understand it, Creation, who ran the Vegas conventions, lost the license, and now CBS seems to be, or Paramount, or whatever you want to call them these days, they seem to be taking a much more active role in the convention itself. And they have teamed up with Reed Pop, who does the Star Wars Celebration conventions, as well as C2E2 and the New York Comic Con and stuff like that. And they're putting on a show. And I really feel like, from what they were saying and all the rest of it, that they're trying to make it like a mini celebration, not like what we had in Vegas or whatever, which was a different vibe entirely, but making it more of like a media event, making it more of like a comic book convention. And I think that that's pretty interesting and also pretty cool. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I completely agree.
That's really interesting because this year in 2022 is Celebration for Star Wars, and this is technically the last year that Reed Pop has it. The Reed Pop contract is ending this year, and so the real question for them is Disney going to take a larger role, because they already have their like D23, so they've run conventions before, so. Yeah, so maybe Reed Pop's just sliding over to the Trek side.
Yeah, you can swap out Star Wars and Star Trek, and they'll
it's
still,
almost the same thing.
It won't affect the bottom line at all.
50% Star.
Just change the second word.
I just remember how many billions of dollars the Star Trek movies, the last ones made. Yeah.
Where are they doing Celebration this year?
It'll be in Anaheim again, so hasn't been there since 2015. Looking at the time of this recording, it's still looking good. So you never know.
I assume they're going by how many TV shows are on for a franchise, and I mean, it always used to be wars, but now the tide has turned.
That's right.
And I mean, that's, I think, sort of another interesting thing about this is that, unlike when Creation had it, and it was in Vegas every year with their little satellite cons throughout the country, this is going to be more like what they're doing with Star Wars, and I believe the plan is to move from one city to another every year, or whenever they end up doing these things.
And I was super excited that they chose Chicago as their first place, because that is in my backyard and your front yard.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I was super excited too. I mean, I probably would have made the effort to go wherever it was, and it's kind of sad that there isn't really an excuse to go to Vegas anymore. But at the same time, I mean, Chicago, it's a lot easier to get to. A lot easier to get to for me.
Now, I noticed one thing about the convention that I thought was pretty cool, because I'm sort of missing it here in the UK. I've been to 2 whole UK conventions, which is not that much. But one thing that I've noticed is that panels are not necessarily a thing. Like they'll have, the stars do a Q&A, but like when we were in Vegas, or whether I've been to Doctor Who Gallifrey 1 in LA, there's always like panels, and it wasn't even necessarily the big stars. Second tier stars were just fans. But I noticed with Star Trek Chicago, they actually do have fan applications for tables and panels and stuff like that. So now, are either of you two thinking about doing anything, or are you just going to be purely participants?
I am just participating, although I did apply for a press badge. And so I might try to do some interviews or do some updates on social media for the Nerd Party. But besides that, nobody needs to hear my opinion other than in podcast form. Like, they don't need to see my face and hear my opinion. They just need to hear my voice.
Please tell me that the press badges come with those little over the head, like, little camera lights from Generations.
Yeah,
If that has to be a requirement, guys. I mean, it's so on brand.
Yes, Tristan, out of the 5 people recording right now, you're the one of the face that nobody wants to see repeatedly. What about you, Schindler? Are you thinking of doing anything?
No, I'm not planning on doing anything. I'm just kind of taking it easy. I mean, that's one of the things that was kind of always cool about Vegas compared to, say, like Celebration or any of these other big conventions, is that it was like a very sort of laid back atmosphere. It was almost more about like the party than the show itself. And I know that that's not what this is going to be, but I'm hoping to capture that a little bit. And, also, I imagine with people coming to town and whatnot, there might be some, quote unquote entertaining, which is involved. So, just want to stay on my toes, I guess.
Okay. So, what room suite should people be coming to see you for the?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I mean, I did talk to my friend Josh, who goes to C2E2 every year, and he gets a room, and it seems like because C2E2, which is the big comic book convention in Chicago, which is run by the same people, seems like it's going to be kind of the same deal in terms of like where in the convention center it is. Because I mean, that's part of this whole thing is like McCormick Place is massive, like super super huge. Like there was I think like another whole convention going on at the same time as Star Wars, right? And I mean, that thing was huge. So, assuming that it is in the same area, which I believe it is, that C2E2 is doing, the hotel, which is closest, I guess, is the Hyatt. And he was saying that that's where people kind of go to hang out, sort of like in the way that they hang out in Vegas. And, it's slightly closer than some of the other ones, but they're all about the same price and everything, but apparently the Hyatt and to a lesser extent the Marriott, at least for C2E2, that's where the party's happening. So something to keep in mind if you're looking to book your hotels. I'm not staying in either of those though. I'm staying at one because the one down the through the build. I mean, it's like an extra like 2 blocks away, even though you literally still are walking through the building to get to the con. I mean, that's how big this place is. But
it's absolutely monstrous, yeah.
But that area, it's got like a Hampton Inn and like a Hilton Gardens Inn or something like that, and they've got like refrigerators and that sort of thing. So I'll walk the extra couple blocks in order to have a little bit more of a comfy hotel room.
So when they knock on the door, what's the aspect ratio password to get in?
It's always 239 to 1. Come on.
Okay.
Come on,
That's
man.
the only
Come on.
answer. Yeah.
Now, okay, one thing that I'm glad that you talked about how massive McCormick Place is, but one thing that I definitely want to bring up, because we were talking about Las Vegas, is that Chicago, there's so much about Chicago that's in walking distance. And in Vegas, that's just not the case when like where the hotel is located. I remember all of us were just like, oh yeah, let's just go and walk the strip, or like let's go down here and see what's what. And we started walking and we're like, maybe we should drive.
Yep.
Like everything is way farther away than you think it is. But in Chicago, and especially at McCormick Place, it's so like there's so much around McCormick Place that if you need a break from the convention, or if you want to get some fresh air, you actually can do it. Unlike in Vegas, when you walk outside and you feel like you're on the surface of the sun. And I kind of want to hit on that just a little bit. Like with McCormick Place, like McCormick Place is just south of Shedd Aquarium, the Field Museum, Grant Park, the Adler Planetarium. And if you haven't been to these things, like especially the Field Museum, like people who live in Chicago or live near Chicago, like me, like I live about like 25 minutes north of Chicago. Like we are absolutely spoiled at the museums. Like we have world-class museums here in Chicago. And so if you do want to take a break, it's just a couple of blocks, a little bit more than a couple of blocks, but it's really close. It's really close. And you definitely should like take a moment if you are thinking about it to go at least to the Field Museum. And also, like, the one beautiful thing is that you don't have to just rely on the Hyatt or the internal dining at McCormick Place for like $7 hot dogs or something like that. Like, there's tons of really great dining, just west of McCormick Place, and it's like there's like a really nice hub to eat at Indiana and Cermak. I'd say like there's in surrounding areas to that, but like if you can remember, and we're going to post some of this on the website as well. So if you go to the nerdparty.com/SatayAlpha3, you'll be able to find it, and you'll see it in the show notes. But like there's at Indiana and Cermak, there's tons of really great stuff to eat if you want to break from convention food. You have, and I'm just going to go through them real quick just so you guys can hear it. You have Il Culicino, which is a great Italian restaurant, really great Italian restaurant. You have a rooftop bar. You have a La Cantina for fantastic Mexican food. You have the Chicago Oyster House, if that's your thing. You have Paisanos, which is highly rated. Schindler, I know you have a lot of opinions on pizza when it comes to Chicago.
Yeah.
And you have a Fat Pour Tap. You also have a drag show that's really close by that you can go to. And yeah, it's just like you have all of those places that I just mentioned are highly rated and centrally located and within walking distance of McCormick Place. And yeah.
That's one of the other nice things about the hotel with the Hampton and the Hilton Gardens, like that area. Even though it is a little bit further away, it's literally a block away from Paisanos. And everybody is always talking about Chicago pizza and Chicago deep dish, and it's like, yeah, it's great, And I've had a lot of it, and Paisanos, I would say, is right up there, near the very top. I mean, the other day, Tristan texted me out of the blue to show me his lock screen, and it kind of freaked me out because I was all the way up in his neck of the woods, literally just to go to the Paisanos, which was by his house. So yes, this is good pizza. Highly recommended, and a reason to stay at the Hampton or Hilton Gardens instead of the one close to the convention itself.
So Tristan, not to get into your personal details, but what's your strategy? Are you gonna just commute? Or are you gonna find a hotel too, or what are you gonna do?
I'm just gonna commute. I got 2 kids, and I don't think the girl, aka my wife, would appreciate me being away for 3 days when I'm within driving distance, keeping her alone with a 5-year-old and a 5-month-old. So yeah, I'm gonna be commuting. No hotels for me, but I'm gonna try to be as late as I can. I'm gonna try to stay as late as I can because I know that the after hours is where the fun happens, because I want to go full beige if I can.
Oh wow!
So.
The other thing is it is nearby the Loop, which is sort of like the big downtown area. It's kind of like Vegas, where it's like not right there, but it's within striking distance. If you were to take an Uber or something like that, it's about a 5-minute car ride to the Loop. Where you also have like the Art Institute and all that stuff.
Right.
But the other great thing about Chicago is that the public transportation is like some of the best in the world, and you really can get anywhere you want to go by train and bus if you want to. And the Loop is about a 20-minute bus ride from the convention center. So,
and even if you've never been there before, like it's an easy to understand. If I can understand it, I guarantee anybody listening can understand the Metra and the L and everything like that. So it's yeah, but it is if you don't want to, it's a very Uber friendly city. So I mean, obviously it's a metropolitan area, but one thing that I can tell you, or that I should tell you, is that a lot of people. Like whenever we have, and I'm sure Schindler, you're the same way. Whenever we have people come and visit, and they say like, "Hey, do you want to see Chicago? Do you want to see what's what? Do you want to take the architecture tour?" Which is another thing that, like, if you really want time away from the convention, the architecture tour is the way to do it. But a lot of people say like, "Let's go to Magnificent Mile." In my opinion, it's completely overrated. If you just want to go shopping, that's a place to go. But yeah, I mean, like, unless you want to see the Art Institute is the only thing that I would recommend seeing on Magnificent Mile or near Magnificent Mile. But if you really have no interest in just shopping, then there's no need to make the pilgrimage to Magnificent Mile from McCormick Place. Schindler, what do you think about that? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree?
I mean, I sort of like grew up in that area, like going to college and stuff like that. So I have an affinity for it. And, but I mean, it is kind of a beautiful walk with the river and everything. And you do get to see a lot of like movie locations. Like, I mean, a lot of places where they shot The Dark Knight. You can see, like the climactic battle from Transformers 3 and stuff like that. I mean, I guess that's maybe not the most noteworthy but whatever, so there is a lot of cool stuff there. And it's worth taking a look at even if you're not buying anything. It's if you just want to have like a nice walk in the city, that's probably a good place to start, I guess.
I can't argue with you there. Yeah. No, I can't argue with you there. And also, McCormick Place is right on Lakeshore. Like it's on the lake. So you like if you are looking for a beautiful walk, I mean, you're already there. But I mean, Schindler, you're right. You can't beat the area for Transformers 3 nostalgia alone.
There you go.
Yeah.
Navy Pier, on the other hand, which is some place that everybody's like, I gotta go to Navy Pier because of the Ferris wheel and the whatever. Like, that's pretty much a complete waste of time. There's literally nothing there. So stay away from Navy Pier.
The Santa Monica Pier of Chicago. All right. Well, I'm gonna go through like
the IMAX. Sorry.
I'm gonna go through just the guests that the website is highlighting. Yeah. But I'm interested in what you two gentlemen are any guests you're particularly excited about. But it's just a short list. But these are kind of like these. This is what the website is drawing you in with. So it's Kate Mulgrew, of course, Admiral Janeway, Michelle Hurd, Raffi from Star Trek Picard, Will Wheaton.
That was a tough get. Will was really tough to book for this, I'm sure.
Well, that's the really interesting thing, though, is because Creation like dissed him back in the day and called him like a second tier guest behind his back, and he was like, "Oh, well then screw them. I'm never going to a Creation convention for the rest of my life."
I think Will actually is a really good get because like that. I'm like I don't think he actually went to a lot of Star Trek cons on purpose. So. Yeah.
Spoiler alert, Daniel's the one who called him a second tier.
Oh, man.
Shh, don't blow me up, man. Oh, my God.
Now, the thing with Will, not to highlight this, but just maybe as an explanation, I went, Gallifrey 1, I think, in LA, is when I saw him. He does have social anxiety. So, because we were getting pictures done and it was him and Frakes, and they do have like sort of like a, FYI. So, I mean, I assume that's some of it. So I'm sure he's great on the panel, but one-on-one, that may not be his thing.
Am I misremember? I seem to recall that when they announced him, they said that he was going to be like the MC, kind of like Warwick Davis is for the Star Wars conventions. I think he's. I mean, it makes sense with the ready room and everything, right? And gives him something to do, which isn't just like taking pictures and stuff, right? I don't know. It seems like it makes sense in a. I just love that, like, they couldn't get him to come to a Star Trek convention for years, and then they ditch Creation, and he's like literally the first person to sign up.
Well, I get it, especially when he was younger. The whole, Wesley sucks. I mean, I wouldn't want to go to a convention either. But
I get it.
The rest are Anthony Rapp, of course, from Stamets on Discovery, Nana Visitor, Kira from Deep Space Nine, and Doug Jones, Saru from Discovery. So, like I said, those are just, there's more, obviously, but are there any particular guests that I didn't name that you two are particularly excited about, or that you think are neat that are coming?
I signed up, just immediately when it was announced that it was going to be in Chicago. Like, as soon as tickets were available, I signed up. I didn't even look at who was going to be there or who was coming. And that is probably third or fourth on my list of important reasons why to go. And I think if it is an important reason for whoever's listening, I'm not saying that it's not or it shouldn't be, but for me personally, it's very much to see everybody that either I saw in person at Vegas or I know online, or like the vendor room, things like that. And I do love hearing people speak, but I'd say like out of that list, that because that they always populate when we get closer to the event more and more. I think they might have announced Shatner. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I just saw on the website, but I didn't read it. So
I'd say Mulgrew. Like, when I saw her in Vegas, she was a great speaker. Like, she very much controlled the room, and she was entertaining and commanding. And so I would love to hear her talk about Prodigy now that she can, since that happened in between like 2016 and now. So yeah, I'd say Mulgrew is at the top of my list.
I mean, you can ask her about the two characters she plays. So
yeah.
You're talking about regular Hollow Janeway and Goth Hollow Janeway?
Well, Admiral Janeway.
There's a third one. Yeah, spoilers.
So that's three, actually. So thank you, Darren. What about you, Mike? I don't know, because I know you're probably, well, I don't want to speak for you. You're probably a little more behind the scenes people, as I guess what you look for, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting. Like, there's a couple of guys at work who are going, because they're big Star Trek fans, and one of them went to Vegas a couple of years back, and he's like, "Man, like the guest list." And I've seen this online too. People are like, "How come the unofficial Vegas convention has like a billion more guests than the official one?" And I think, well, I think there's two factors at play there. One, that doesn't seem to be the I don't know, priority in terms of like marketing for this one. But the other one, I really do think that unlike Vegas, which was sort of all about the past, really, this is really going to be about like the future, right? I mean, they've said that they're planning on doing like reveals, announcements, and all that stuff. So I bet you that there's going to be
Section 31 series revealed.
I would not be surprised if they just are like, ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Yeoh, and I mean, I would not be surprised at all if that happens. Really, I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if they brought out like Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto and said like, "This is."
They might be surprised, but you would not be surprised. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, and I think the other part is like Vegas was kind of entrenched. Like it was really the only thing that you could go to, and so they kind of didn't need to try to a degree. But Chicago's, they got to get you in the seat.
Yeah.
And also a lot of tradition. Like there's so much tradition at Vegas, especially with the experience and just for how long it's been in Vegas. Yeah, it's just like people are like, yeah, Star Trek convention, Vegas, that's where you're going to go. And like for the longest time, I didn't know that wasn't the like the official one or like the one that like I could have sworn like my entire years of being a Star Trek fan and being like on Twitter where I could actually talk with other Star Trek fans. I thought Vegas was it. Like that was it. Like that was the sanctioned everything.
Well, it was up until now.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought I totally misunderstood you.
Oh,
I thought.
No.
Yeah.
I was like, where was the official one?
Yeah, I think last year was the first year where they did not have the license. So now it's just like,
okay, I got you.
Yeah, whatever.
So I did want to point out, because I don't know, this is always my consideration, which I'm sure it is for many people. And maybe it's because it's new, but tickets are not bad. I'm just going to say what they are, and they're not. One day is $65, which is, compare that to Creation. Not that we're here to trash Creation. 3
you can if you want to.
They do a lot of shady stuff. Everybody. I'm sure we all have stories, right?
And then the 3-day is $155. That's like one day at Creation, and then like the VIP 3. Which is going to be expensive, but it's not like sell your child expensive. $750 for the VIP 3-day. So obviously I don't have that, but people who do, they're probably gonna get a lot out of it. There's people on a cruise right now,
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like Star Trek fans will complain about $6 a month, but will drop $700 for a VIP experience.
Yeah,
but I know y'all have said that not necessarily guests are your draw, but like, so if you had to like sell to Daniel about coming to Star Trek Chicago, what's sort of I know you said sort of the get together and the enjoying fans, but what else are you kind of like?
What's your turbolift pitch?
Yeah, what's your list when you're walking into the McCormick? Like these are the first 3 or 4 things I got to do. We'll go, Mike.
Well, I honestly think I'm not sure who was there whenever it was 2017 or whatever it was when they surprised everyone by bringing Patrick Stewart out and announcing the Picard show. Like, I think we're going to get that like times 10 here. I'm not saying that that's going to happen 10 times, but like I think that's
how many shows are on them.
No, it's just Stewart walking out 10 times,
which is cool in and of itself. But like that was a huge surprise moment for everybody, right? And I think even at the con, they didn't know that was going to happen until like that day or whatever. But like this one, I think is designed for moments like that. And I think that's what I'm most excited about. My big prediction is that, you look at the timing and everything, I bet you they're going to do like the world premiere of Strange New Worlds at this thing. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
We'll see. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Hey,
the splash, the the bombastic, whatever, the things which are going to end
would
up
you
in
like to see the
variety.
first 30 minutes of Strange New Worlds? It's like, and then that's the panel, and then everybody loses their mind.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, and like especially, I mean, I don't pretend to know how corporate stuff works, but I mean, they could, just bring in the cast who we know because we've seen their pictures, but like, who've not necessarily.
Pike is in this? What?
But I mean, the actual actors and actresses who we're not necessarily familiar with, but just bring them in to Chicago, and then they get their first splash. I mean, and again, my flashback is to yesterday. Sylvester McCoy, who was the seventh Doctor, he got cast as Doctor Who. I mean, this was in the 80s. Unlike Tuesday, he was in San Diego on Thursday, appearing as Doctor. And he's like, I don't know what I'm getting into, but hi, I'm the new Doctor Who. So I don't know if that actually may be the chance to get new cast members of all the myriad of series.
Yeah, I think there's a high probability that Schindler is right because of everything. I mean, I don't need to repeat what he said. I completely agree with Schindler that is a huge possibility of all of that happening. So if you want to be a part of that and not just see it online, then this is a way to do that. And this isn't like with Comic-Con where, San Diego Comic-Con where it's just everybody waits, 9 hours in line to watch a trailer. That's going to be released 30 seconds later online. This one is those moments where you get something you get the live experience. For me, my Turbolift pitch would probably be with kind of piggybacking off of what Schindler said earlier about with just how gigantic McCormick Place is and how perfect it is for this purpose is the vendor room and the special attractions are going to be amazing. I think they're going to be better than Vegas as my prediction, just because they have the space, it's so centrally located. It's got O'Hare right next to it ish. But yeah, that's what I want to go to for conventions. I want to go to the vendor room. I want to go to the experiences. I want to see everybody. I want to be able to gather in a large place like that and just kind of look at expensive crap I'm not going to buy. That's what I want to do. And just being in one of the best areas of Chicago is such a draw, because if you've never been, this is your chance to experience a lot of different aspects of Chicago in one place. And so you can really say that you've been there.
That is true. I mean, we were just talking, before recording, Phillip, you're saying that you had been to Chicago for Doctor Who, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which was in Lombard. And I mean, hey, I love Lombard. They've got a really great Target there, and the mall is where I grew up and everything, but it's not downtown Chicago,
Yeah. And the last Star Trek convention, the last Star Trek Chicago convention that I went to, quote unquote Chicago, was in Rosemont, because it's right next to O'Hare. And so yeah, this is really actually in Chicago. This isn't, the white suburbanites who live in Wisconsin and say that they're from Chicago. This is this is actually it.
It's kind of interesting, because they would, Creation would always do the Chicago conventions in Rosemont, because it's right next to the airport, and you just, ship celebrities in and out. And one of the things which they said is that George Takei always insisted that they put him up in a hotel in downtown Chicago, even though it was way out of the way for him to do so. He wanted to be in the city, which is pretty cool. I don't know. Now he will be, assuming he's going. But I guess the other thing...
I think he is, honestly.
He's on the website. Yeah.
All right. There we go. The other thing, I guess, just to mention in that regard is, there are two airports in Chicago for anyone who hasn't booked their flight yet. There's O'Hare, which everybody knows about, but there's also Midway. And Midway is actually a lot closer to the convention than O'Hare is. It's also smaller, so it's easier to maneuver and everything. But by car, Midway is less than 20 minutes away, whereas O'Hare is like a half an hour. So something to consider. Maybe check out Midway. It's
I think this is where I think Schindler and I disagree.
Oh boy!
Oh, no.
I mean, he's not wrong about the distance.
I mean, he wants to go to Shuttle Bay 3. You want to go to Shuttle Bay 2. What's the difference?
I used to fly out of Midway a lot because of I worked for the United States Soccer Federation, and they had a contract with Southwest. And Southwest, if you fly Southwest, you're going to be flying through Midway. And if you fly everybody else, it's most likely going to be O'Hare. And O'Hare is massive. It is hard to navigate inside the actual airport, but getting out of it is very easy. And getting on the highway is very easy. And getting downtown is very easy from O'Hare because you use the highway system. Midway is a friggin' nightmare to get out of. It's a smaller airport, so it's easier to maneuver inside the airport. But it's just like with O'Hare, it's the highway. With Midway, you got to go through like a town. You got to go through some dude's driveway, and then that's how you get to downtown. And so it's just like I friggin' hate. Like I will pay hundreds of dollars more to fly out of O'Hare than Midway.
I mean, I guess here's the question: which airport has a home run in pizza inside of it?
Well,
it's Midway. Spoilers. Okay. It's Midway. So, I
mean, if that's your draw, I can't argue with that.
Anyway.
But that's the thing. Like, oftentimes it can be cheaper flying to Midway, flying Southwest, especially if you're on the West Coast, or like in the western region of the United States or anything like that. It can be very cheaper and easier to fly there, but just know that it can be a nightmare. Like if you rent a car or take an Uber or a bus or something like that. And I just like O'Hare because of the highway system.
Midway is better. Don't listen to him.
So I have a question. So you both are walking in the, I assume will be huge, merch vendor area. Both of you have, different Trek interests as far as what's in your house. What are you in the back of your mind going, I'm going to look out for this? Like, in this point in my life, I have everything. There's very little, but there are three things probably that'll be like, if they have it. So what are on your vendor list?
Ooh,
it's got to be the pewter figures, right, guys? The pewter figures.
Pewter figures?
Oh, they need to make a comeback.
Yeah.
The plates. It's the plates.
Yes, Tristan, if you see your Lieutenant Paris plate.
That might happen. If I see a reasonably priced Lieutenant Paris plate, that might happen. My mom worked at a place called JBJ's, which was a gigantic gift shop. Like it was a year-round gift shop. And they had Star Trek merchandise there, but it was like stuff you couldn't find elsewhere. And they had tons of plates. Like they had an Abraham Lincoln plate right next to a Captain Picard plate. It was amazing.
Lincoln's a Star Trek character. That counts.
That's true. It's true.
Space Lincoln, yeah.
But no, for me, it's the merch that I never knew existed. I know that's kind of a cheat, but it's the merch that I never knew existed, or I've never been able to find a B'Elanna figurine in her gold uniform. I only have the full-blooded Klingon version of B'Elanna.
Okay.
And so I'd love to find a Playmates version of her, like the right size. None of that 8-inch
Dolly,
tall or
yeah,
that kind of thing. I want the 6-inch figurine made by Playmates. That's what I would be looking for. And also, I'm a really big. I can never remember the name of them. Are they Eagle Moss? Is that the name of the ships?
Hero Collector, Eagle Moss, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, like I'm trying to get all of the Voyager ships. I'm not trying that hard. But
well, when you say all the Voyager, like every ship that was ever in Voyager, or like there's different Voyager versions? Because there's like the assimilated Voyager.
No, like I got the in-game Voyager. I got the in-game shielded Voyager.
Okay.
And I've got regular Voyager. If they have the Borgified Voyager now, which I think they do, I'll probably pick that one up. I got the Delta
There's also
Flyer.
the XL, I think, of the Voyager.
Well, I can't get into that. I can't get into the XLs. That's a road I can't go down. I don't know. Maybe I would expand to a little bit more. Like I got my basement now. Mm-hmm. Like I moved into a house in 2019, so I actually have place for my nerd crap. So I might expand my ships. Oh, Star Trek Pop Funkos are kind of hard to find. So like I got Geordi and Riker, so I might try to get some more of those. Yeah.
What about you, Mike? Are you looking for some animation film cells, or what are you looking for?
No, I mean that's a good question. I think that Tristan is right about that thing that you didn't know existed, right? Because I mean now things have changed. I mean before that was like the main draw of conventions. Like when I was a kid, it's like this is where I can go and buy a bunch of stuff. And now that the internet exists, it's like we can get whatever we want, really, right? Probably for a lot less money than on the convention floor. So,
and you always go on the last day because the price is going to be cut.
There you go. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's that probably, I'm excited. Like Reed Pop does a pretty good job with their like convention exclusive merchandise, usually things which are very like specific to the show that you're attending. So I am kind of interested to see what they have in that regard. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
It was always kind of like made me chuckle a little bit because like you'd be in the vendor room and you're just like, man, it's cheaper to pay for shipping than it is to pick it up here, and then you're like, oh well, the vendor has to ship their ass to Vegas, so.
Yeah, and as far as like stuff you said, when I was at Destination Trek in November, which was a smaller convention, but. I was like, man, I'm going to leave a convention not have bought anything. It's a miracle. But ended up they're seeing some prints. I'm not good with sizes, like a regular size print. I don't know, whatever you call that.
3x2.
But they had the TNG crew, but it wasn't like the picture of the technical manual first contact uniform, but it was more like artistically done. But I've never seen them with like the first contact kind of uniforms of the TNG crew. So I ended up getting that because that was sort of something a little unique that I hadn't ever seen before. So yeah, like you said, of course, right now I'm wearing a shirt I got from the con I was at yesterday, which is just a good Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles t-shirt. They also had one. It's sort of which I know this is an audio form, but anyway, they have. I bought a shirt just like this too, but it's He-Man, Transformers, Turtles, and then like it's just like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think the guy overheard saying, "So I heard you said this represents your childhood." I'm like, fine, yes, two for. Yeah.
Tristan, I'm curious. Because it's Reed Pop, and again, they've run a lot of the Star Wars conventions. Do you know? Are they doing a lottery system for the panels, or is it the long line system? So for the last few conventions for Star Wars, they've actually done what they call the lottery system, where basically your ticket is tied to an account that you're logged into. And basically so rather than have the option of, okay, I can go to this panel, but I have to be in line for, 8 hours of my day. Instead, by a lottery, it basically picks the people randomly. That it's not a perfect system, but it is something that gets around spending half of your time in line. So I was curious if they had said anything on their site on how they're approaching it for this con.
That I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything. I haven't read anything yet. I'm not sure if that's been revealed. Schindler, have you heard anything yet?
I haven't heard anything either. I kind of think that they're not going to do it because, like, okay, so they do the Star Wars conventions, and they did one here at McCormick Place, and then this is also where they do C2E2, which is the comic book convention.
That's right.
And like, if you look at like C2E2, like they take over the basketball arena next door, where that's where they did like all of the huge panels for Celebration. I said for Celebration, and they did the lottery system for that and everything, and they filled that place up. Whereas with C2E2, the comic convention, they have a room which is probably more similar to like the auditorium in Vegas, where they do their big panels, whether it's Stan Lee or whoever. And for that, they just have like a line, because as big as this convention might be, it's not going to be Celebration big,
That makes sense. It's probably a size thing. It's Celebration needs to do that. It is so big, and there are many panels that aren't. Yeah, because in the Star Trek one, not that there aren't smaller panels, but the big ones are in the big space, and everybody can pretty much fit there that wants to go. Versus in a lot of the Celebration conventions, like there are many more breakout. Like they've been doing it where they'll have the main room that's in, but they will simulcast it to other large rooms because it is still not big enough. So I was just curious. It's sounding like it's not that kind of a con, at least size wise, to need a lottery system. But always just keep an eye on the page, because you never know what they're going to announce.
Yeah. And speaking of keeping your eye on the page, one thing that they have not given any kind of stance on is COVID-19 protections and precautions. And so definitely keep track of that, because the situation in Illinois is constantly changing. Illinois is is run by a liberal governor. And so we're one of the 5 states in the U.S. that still has some of the strictest COVID-19 precautions. I'm not passing judgment either way, because that's not my place. But I'm just saying that exists. And so that's something to think about. Now, the mask mandates, actually, at the time of this recording, the mask mandates might be ending tomorrow.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Okay. So I wasn't sure if that was going to be extended or held back. But then again, you never know what's going to happen in 2 months. And so, and also, like, I don't know about vaccination requirements or proof of vaccination for buildings, because in Chicago, there's a lot of places where you would need proof of vaccination. So that's another thing to keep in mind as you're traveling. And if you are traveling, I'm sure that you guys are keeping that in mind. The listeners are keeping that in mind. But just check back on the website at StarTrekMissions.com for COVID-19 protection or precautions. And always check in on Illinois' ordinances on what their vaccination mandates are, or what their, what the governor says needs to happen. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, because it's a large gathering, so it's going to be talked about, and there's going to be something. So we'll just have to take a look for that.
And also, I was looking on the website, and I know I mentioned it before, but I always think this is really cool. Maybe just because we did it. Everyone recording, and Mike, I think you're in at least the audience. We also have done and submitted a panel before at a Star Trek convention. But I'm looking at the fan submissions for panels. You can do a virtual panel if you want, so it can be pre-recorded, or you can apply to do an on-site. And this is my disclaimer. I may not be reading this right, but if I'm reading it right, if you're accepted, you can get up to 4 passes. For all your panelists. So
yeah.
we
that's
still
usually
have to pay for
standard. Is they'll offer you a badge if you get accepted as a in-person panel.
Oh, very cool.
So are you guys going to do a virtual panel? Come on, guys.
Well, I mean, virtual. I could pre-record. I can 5 hours difference or 6 hours difference, doesn't matter, right? But yeah.
So Darren, I know that Phillip's not going, but Darren and Daniel, are you guys going? You thinking about going? You not going?
To the Star Trek convention?
Yeah. Darren's like, Star Wars.
Star Wars is coming up here.
No. I do a podcast. I'm not married to it. Come on now.
If I didn't go in 2019 to the Star Wars one, and traveling for cons is hard. It's a lot of expense. And yes, honestly, the only reason I went to Vegas when we all did is because we all did, and I was seeing a bunch of friends, and as Vegas, I could drive there, in a couple of hours. So, really, I am not a jet setter con goer. I don't get on a plane. It's very far. And also again, it's a celebration year. So I'm not even going to local cons during the very early part of this year, because all funds are directed towards celebration. So not this year, but maybe, if we have another podcast meetup someday, that could be fun.
Well, I can imagine what Tristan is thinking is like, your kids are 2 years older. You got loads of free time, right? Right? Yeah. They watch themselves at that point, right?
Just give them an iPad and walk away.
for a weekend.
Yeah. Give them the power cord. It'll be fine.
Now, Daniel, I know you're not necessarily a con goer, but based on your Vegas experience, what did you enjoy about cons? And so what should people be looking forward to if they're thinking about going to Chicago?
Oh boy, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, to answer both yours and Tristan's questions, I don't have any plans of traveling at that time. The only convention I ever went to was the one that, in fact, we all attended, and it was, again, like Darren said, because we all attended it. It was kind of like a like a perfect storm of timing and where everybody was in their lives. I don't know what it was, but it just worked out really well, and everybody went and had a great time. And I could definitely see that being the case now, but for me, it's just like I got enough, kind of like conventions. I'm not like a big. I don't love to go into spaces where there's a bunch of people and I'm just there. So I don't know. It's just not me. It's not my kind of thing. I don't love doing that sort of thing, but it does sound fun. To answer your question about what was fun about 2016, other than of course the social element of it, because meeting people that we had been chatting for years at that point. It's tough. It's tough.
Maybe
to say,
plotting to create a podcast, stuff like that.
yeah.
Our party almost getting shut down multiple times due to noise,
Security
complaints.
getting called repeatedly.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the social stuff, the friends, and the times you make, the memories, are the things that are going to stick out in your mind. But no, I mean, it was a ton of fun just to go to a place that maybe you would never go to again. And just do something that you don't normally do. So I really enjoyed, it's mostly social stuff, but of course the vendors and the panelists and all that. So it was just it was a perfect storm of great timing and just having a ton of fun. So
a nexus, as it were.
A nexus. There you go. That's
so
the word
like
I've been looking
being
for.
inside joy. Okay,
that's the perfect storm for Star Trek fans, right there.
And I think one of the a part that I enjoy almost at any convention, and depends how big it is, and obviously Chicago's going to be pretty big, is at least if y'all remember the Vegas experience, there was that one room that had, and I'm not saying anything against the people, but the second tier stars. But like, I think that's the coolest part because they're just there in a room, or I mean, depending on how the con's laid out, just there at a table. And like, I think that's kind of the coolest one because you can just, I mean, I don't know if there's like a huge line because it's usually for autographs, but you can just go up and talk to them. I mean, when I was at Destination in November, Wilson Cruz was there, from Discovery and from many things. And he was sitting there and I was like, I'm going to go chat for him for a couple seconds. And just go up and chat with him. And so, or if it's just cool to see some of these people in person. So I'm sure
I did that in Vegas. Was it Vegas? I don't know. But it was like Frakes was at a table and there was a lull, and so I went and I talked to him for like a long time, and he's a super nice guy. And like I was so nervous about talking to him, not because he's a celebrity, but just because I'm like, oh my god, like you are my favorite Star Trek character.
Don't meet your heroes. Don't meet your heroes.
Like don't
just a
be a jackass.
I said I wanted a picture.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He was so nice and so interesting to talk to, and he seemed like he was genuinely interested in me. Like he asked me a lot of questions himself, and I was just like, "This is cool. This is cool." And also, I did that with Connor Trenier, and like I got an autograph from Connor Trenier for my mom, and he said, "He's like, who's this for?" And I was like, "Oh, it's for my mom. Her name's Judith. She loves you. She thinks you're super handsome." And he's like, "My mom thinks I'm handsome too."
You're saying Frakes asked you a lot of questions, and I'm assuming that all the questions started like, have you ever ridden a bike in a cemetery before?
So I'll close it up here, but Tristan and Mike, I think one cool thing also, and it's such a subtle thing, but I think it's so cool, is sort of when they have, for lack of a better word, like the photo op opportunities of, like in Vegas, it was like the Borg alcoves, like the Tribbles, or like, so what would be your pitch for Chicago? What should they have, especially with a lot of the 21st century Trek, but whatever.
Just the Enterprise D bridge. That's all we want. Just, in a corner, cardboard standee.
Should they have the steakhouse lounge on Discovery? That's with the fire. I always think of just like you're just in a steakhouse.
I would love a working model of the Voyager warp core.
Oh, warp core. Awesome. Best part.
Yeah, that's what I would like, because I feel like it doesn't have to be life size. It doesn't have to be gigantic.
Just has to go room.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be 2 stories high, but just like something where you can get close to and get a photo of like just a little column of a warp core with all the color swirls and everything like that. That would be my choice. And I think those kind of photo opportunities are way cooler and way more interesting than the celebrity photo ops. Again, I'm not knocking it if that's your thing. Like a lot of people are like,
it's
no,
cheaper
I'm getting
too.
It's a lot cheaper. Like I'm getting a photo op with X, Y, and Z. That's what I'm doing. That's why I go to cons. And I think that's great. For me, it just feels awkward to me. Like, here, I'm giving you money so you stand next to me. It's just like, that's weird to me. but I understand if that's your thing. But like getting the photo ops and like getting a bunch of friends together to stand in the alcoves, I think that was fun.
Why not a photo op with the Discovery warp core? Oh, that's a joke.
Like it's just you in front of a green screen that you can like Photoshop in later once they actually reveal it, if they ever do.
Oh, I know I wasn't asked the question, but if I had a backdrop, I would want it to be in that style, a big wall, and it's the Cerritos Master Systems display. I think that like just kind of ties it together, and then you could, you're like, oh, I'm getting a picture in front of this cool wall, but it also means you love Second Contact and all of that. Nice. So.
Is it gonna it's like a Snapchat filter where it turns you into one of the characters as well? So
no, it's gonna be one of those where you like gesture off into nothing, and they're gonna insert like an animated character or something. The dog.
You're putting your arm around Mariner.
Yeah. You're pointing to the corner, and it's peanut butter hamper is floating there, where they added in digitally. Nice.
I can't believe you can remember that name off the top of your head.
I know. I forgot it until the moment he said it.
He knows all of his exocomps.
What peanut hamper, and then the three that die. They didn't.
Schindler, did you have an idea? Like, do you have something where you're just like, I gotta get a photo of this?
It's hard. I can't really think of anything. I guess the thing that comes to mind off the top of my head would be like Picard's Ready Room, but I don't really have anything that stands out. I'm sure if I thought about it for a while, I'd come. No,
I think that's a great idea, because that'd be easier to build than the D bridge, but we would still be jazzed about it, like to sit at his desk, and. Mm-hmm. Point to the Stargazer, point to Shakespeare, or
the fish.
Livingston.
I was going to say, would it be a real fish, or would it be plastic?
What's the name of his fish? Livingston. I know that's a thing with you guys. Like,
you can do one of those holographic things where it looks like it's 3-dimensional, and it's it's not a real
it's
fish.
Just a screen.
Yeah, it's just a screen.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, guys, I'll give you the last word here about Star Trek Chicago in April. What's the turbo lift's about to reach my deck, and what are your final words about what's these folks should do here? So, Mike, I'll let you go.
I think it does kind of go back to what you guys were saying, which is, you never know what the con experience is going to be like. And certainly we've been let down many times in the past. But I mean, the thing that always does stand out, and the reason why people really do go, is for the other fans, for the friends, you make along the way and all that stuff. So even if the con ends up being, horrendously bad or a big letdown, still have cool people to talk to, so that's good enough.
And Mike, if folks want to either meet up with you there or want to know what ranking of pizza places there are in Chicago, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at Mumbles3K.
All right. And Tristan, you have to have the last word, or else you'll fire us. What do you think about your final thoughts here?
That is in all of your contracts.
Yes.
I am. My final thoughts. I think it's just go for the people, go for the experience, and go for a world-class city. I think it's a fantastic city to live in and visit and hang out and see. And it is worth your time. And like Schindler said, even if for some reason the convention is subpar, which I don't think it's going to be, I think this is a dawn of a new era, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be really great, and I think we're going to get more and more people to visit. And it's even if, like I said, even if it's going to be a subpar convention, or if it turns out to be, you still will have a great experience in a great city with great people. And you can find me at the Insane Robin on Twitter and Letterboxd as well.
Okay, awesome. You can tweet at Tristan for all Chicago things, and if you want to give him a plush Murph so he can take to his kids, I'm sure he'd enjoy that too.
My kids? No, that's mine.
I'm just giving you some cover for the wife. All mine's for my kids. I don't have any kids, but for tax purposes, I do. All right. Well, gentlemen, that's it for us. Until next week, I'm Phillip Gilfus.
I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Daniel Prue.
Stranded here on City Alpha 3.